Chapter 0041 Little Bastard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luoxian didn't give anything, which made Qin Chu feel that he was at a loss, but Bai Yu, Lin Zheng, Er Pang and others were happy because Qin Chu would not leave the handyman compound. Back at the handyman compound, Qin Chu went to the room where Bai Yu and the others lived. I have completely offended the main peak. Please pay more attention when you go out. Those guys have no bottom line and can do anything. Then Qin Chu put the long swords taken from Lin Sang, Mu Yi and Wu Qing on the table, as well as several storage belts. You guys take them and use them. Thank you, Chief. Bai Yu, Lin Zheng, and Er Pang all nodded to Qin Chu. Fatty, let me be honest. Among us, you may have lower qualifications, but that doesn't matter. Diligence can make up for weakness. As long as you are willing to work hard, you will definitely grow up. Qin Chu warned Er Pang before leaving. How should I put it, Lin Zheng and others were descended from the outer disciples, and their qualifications were good. Bai Yu, like him, had a misunderstanding and accidentally came to the Hall of Miscellaneous Workers. In terms of qualifications, he definitely surpassed many people. Er Pang bowed to Qin Chu. He knew his situation, but he believed that he could do it. Didn't Qin Chu achieve greatness by practicing basic swordsmanship? After arriving at the cliff, Qin Chu practiced swordsmanship for a while, and then began to cultivate his vitality. He was looking forward to the feeling of releasing his vitality. He is now at the late 8th level of the condensation realm, and will soon be able to practice to the 9th level. At that time it's not far from the 3rd level True Yuan realm. When Qin Chu was practicing, Lei Yin came to an attic behind the main hall of Qingzhou Peak. Why did junior sister Lei come after me? Qin Chu didn't do anything cruel to you Qianluo Peak disciples either. Luoxian looked at Lei Yin and said. Senior brother Luo, has Qin Chu comprehended the sword spirit realm? Lei Yin looked at Luoxian and asked. I made some good tea for my brother a few days ago. Junior sister, please try it. Luoxian took out a bucket of tea and started making tea. Lei Yin found a seat and sat down. Brother, please don't interrupt. Unite your mind and focus on attacking shortcomings and flaws. Is that the sword spirit realm? The speed of basic swordsmanship is not that fast. Isn't it the junction of Mo Taishang? Sword battle. There are some things that I don't want to talk about. Luoxian avoided the question. No wonder junior sister was blocked by senior brother when he came that day. He does have the qualifications to be taken seriously, but senior brother must be careful. If junior sister can see the problem, Su Shanhe and Zhang Ji can also see it. Lei Yin looked at it. Luoxian said, after hearing Lei Yin's words, two cold gleams flashed in Luoxian's eyes. Brother, I didn't bother with them about some small things in the past, but not this time. If they dare to go overboard, I won't tolerate them. In recent years, the main peak suppression of the 6 peaks has indeed gone too far. It's just that we don't want to hurt our friendship. The recent conflict between the main peak and Qingzhou Peak has obviously intensified. Lei Yin said. Brother knows some things, and I don't intend to spoil them anymore. Junior sisters, you may not know that Su Shanhe sent law enforcement to arrest Qin Chu in the dungeon of the main peak some time ago. We all know that Qin Chu is a fool, but he knows better, has never violated the sect rules. Su Shanhe is just messing around with his identity. Now it is not only him who is acting erratically, but also the disciples of the main peak. The cause of this conflict is that one of the disciples of the main peak arranged for someone around him to come to Qingzhou Peak to do something. The handyman is too arrogant. Luoxian expressed his dissatisfaction. Lei Yin sighed, if the people above were not so arrogant and domineering, how could the disciples below dare to be so lawless? The one named Wu Qing in the arena battle directly killed him because he thought the main peak was superior to others. Qingyun Peak is not the previous Qingyun Peak. Qingwang Ancient Ruins, have you arranged anyone over there? Brother Wei has almost made arrangements for Qingzhou Peak. Luoxian changed the topic. It's been arranged. Lu Shui will lead the team. There will be 4 people in total. If it works, 4 people are enough. If it doesn't work, it's useless to send more people, which will increase the damage. Lei Yin said. Qingzhou Peak, I plan to let Qin Chu lead the team, and I have also selected a few helpers for him. It is up to them to enter the Qinhuang ancient ruins. Luozhen exhaled and asked Qin Chu to go to the Qinhuang ancient ruins. It takes a lot of risks, but young people need to temper themselves. Then junior sister will go talk to Qin Chu later and ask him to take care of each other with the Qianluo Peak team. Lei Yin said. Luozhen nodded. He also hoped that Qin Chu could also get some help. When Lei Yin arrived at the cliff, Qin Chu was still meditating and cultivating his vitality. Hearing the knock on the door, Qin Chu stopped practicing and opened the door. Seeing Lei Yin, Qin Chu was surprised. Master Lei Peak. I just had a discussion with you Qianluo Peak disciples. You won't come to visit me, right? Why do you think so little of me? Can't you come and see? Lei Yin glanced at Qin Chu with disdain, and she wondered, how could such a stupid boy like Qin Chu understand the sword spirit realm? You must know that Qingyun sect has existed for countless years, and only 2 people have understood the sword spirit realm, and one of them is the founder of the sect. That's great. There is no tea, so we can only boil some water. Qin Chu said while lighting the fire. Qin Chu, do I want to thank you for showing mercy to the disciples of Qianluo Peak? Sitting on the wooden pier in front of the wooden house, Lei Yin asked Qin Chu who was boiling water. Master Lei Peak, there is no need to say this. I have killed the disciples of the main peak because they have bad conduct and provoked me first. As for the disciples of Qianluo Peak, it is just a competition, there is no such thing as showing mercy. Qin Chu lit the fire and put the kettle on it and said. Who are you? Lei Yin looked at Qin Chu. She felt that Qin Chu was different from what outsiders saw. Turning his head to look in the direction of the library, Qin Chu smiled bitterly. Actually, I also really want to know who I am. Don't tell me to pull him down. Lei Yin glared at Qin Chu. She felt that Qin Chu didn't want to say anything, and she didn't know that Qin Chu didn't know what was going on with him. Lei Yin then talked about the Qianluo Peak disciples' participation in the Qinhuang ancient ruins. He said that the inner disciple Lu Shui was leading the team and hoped that they could take care of each other. You can take care of me, Master Lei Peak. You see, I am a handyman disciple. I am really poor. I don't even have self-defense pills or armor. Qin Chu agreed quickly, but he also changed his mind very quickly. Directly ask for benefits. Lei Yin looked at Qin Chu and felt convinced, let alone saying he was strong, it was shameless. Standing up, Lei Yin placed several pill bottles on the wooden pillar beside him. These are antidote pills and healing pills. I'm definitely not wronging you when I call you a little bastard. After Lei Yin left, she felt that if she stayed any longer, Qin Chu would have to blackmail her, which was so shameless. Qin Chu was the first in the Qingyun sect to be able to speak her mind confidently. Other disciples did not dare to speak loudly to her. Chapter 0042 The Road is Different. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. After studying the elixirs, Qin Chu determined which ones were healing elixirs and which ones were detoxification elixirs. He had come into contact with many medicinal materials, so he could determine the nature of the elixirs through their taste. After putting the elixir into the storage ring, Qin Chu stroked the sword and began to practice swordsmanship. The long sword Qin Chu used was the one Lu Yuan gave him. As for the 4th level long sword he got from Yanagzai, he did not use it. Before reaching the 3rd level, it is useless to use 4th level weapons, because the energy cannot be released, and the level of the weapon does not reflect anything, it is just that it is stronger. Qin Chu was practicing hard, but his name was spread throughout the Qingyun sect. The disciples of the Qingyun sect felt that Qin Chu was a ruthless person. Wu Cheng, the leader of the main peak, would kill him if he said it, but the disciples of the main peak were very cruel. It is clear that Wu Cheng is from the Qianqing dynasty and comes from the Qian dynasty like Qianqing. Qin Chu killed Wu Cheng and killed Liuza before. It can be said that he and Qianqing are incompatible with each other. There will inevitably be conflicts in the future. These conflicts are not petty grudges, they are mortal enemies that cost lives. The senior officials of the Qingyun sect also remembered the name Qin Chu because of Qin Chu's basic swordsmanship at the great perfection level and his talent that probably controlled the sword spirit realm. Low-level practitioners don't know the characteristics of the sword spirit realm because they are all legendary things, but the senior leaders of Qingyun sect are not fools. Several peak leaders and some elders have some speculations in their hearts. Because of the issues of identity and relationship, they cannot do it. Just like Lei Yin, go directly to Qingzhou Peak and ask. Su Shanhe and Zhang Ji sat together. That bastard completely disregards the face of our main peak. Because of him, the prestige of our main peak has dropped a lot in the eyes of other disciples. Zhang Ji said bitterly. Qin Chu killed Lu Zhe, which made him very angry. No face. There are still 3 core disciples from the main peak in Lunan. They are willing to control their cultivation to the 3rd level peak and participate in the training of Qinhuang's ancient ruins. So this time, the disciples of Qin Chu and Qingzhou Peak are dead. Su Shanhe's face said. There was a murderous intention on the battlefield, and the self-degradation of the Lunan people was in line with his wishes. He also knew that this was what Qian Qing meant. Qian Qing is the number 1 disciple among the core disciples and the master's disciple, so Su Shanhe cooperates with Qian Qing's affairs, because once Qian Qing comes to power in the Qian dynasty, not to mention Qingyun sect, Qingyun Peak will definitely be able to, having received many benefits and with the support of the Qian dynasty, he has a high possibility of becoming the next sect leader. This is good news. That bastard is not dead. When the other 6 peaks see him, they will imitate him and take our main peak into account. His death is a warning to other peaks. Zhang Ji took a photo. Table. I have a worry. That guy is very likely to control the sword spirit realm, and his swordsmanship also has traces of Mo Taishang's Jingxin sword art. Su Shanhe said. If he is really someone that Mo attaches great importance to, he should not be a handyman. Besides, if he dies in the Qinhuang ancient ruins, that is his life and has nothing to do with anyone else. Zhang Ji said, don't say now. It is not certain that Qin Chu has mastered the sword spirit realm. Even if he did, he would still kill him. After practicing for another month, he went to the edge of Miyun Mountain to complete 2 missions. While earning some points, Qin Chu upgraded his cultivation to the 9th level of the condensing yuan realm. At this time, he had been in Qingyun sect for a year, and he had already aged 16 or older. Thinking back on his year, Qin Chu thought of the old man. He didn't know where the old man went after he left, and he felt a little worried in his heart. Although he knew that the old man was very powerful, he was still worried in his heart. 2. You called me. Bai Yu came to the edge of the cliff, interrupting Qin Chu's contemplation. It was Qin Chu who asked the fat man who delivered the meal to call Bai Yu over. Brother, I have something to tell you. In a few days, the sect will have a training operation. I will participate. Will you go? The danger will be great. Not to mention the risks that exist in Qingyun sect. There are many people who want to kill me. Qin Chu looked at Bai Yu and asked. Bai Yu was his best friend in Qingyun sect. If given the chance, he would be willing to hold Bai Yu's hand and fight with him. Danger? Do you think I'm afraid of danger? Bai Yu smiled. He hadn't acted with Qin Chu for a while, and he was looking forward to traveling with Qin Chu in his heart. Okay, I'll recommend it to the Peak Master. I believe he won't get stuck on you. Qin Chu patted Bai Yu's shoulder, and Bai Yu followed him. He also had enough confidence. Bai Yu entered half a year ago. After reaching the 3rd level, his fighting strength is very strong, not weaker than the inner disciples at all, mainly because he has a tacit understanding of fighting with him. After communicating with Bai Yu, Qin Chu went to the main hall of Qingzhou Peak to meet Luozhen and told Luozhen that he wanted to take Bai Yu to the Qinhuang secret realm with him. Okay. That little guy is also very good and should be given some experience. In addition, he is different from you. You have your own way. He needs to enter the orthodox practice within the sect. When you have time, you can persuade him. Luozhen looked at it. Qin Chu said, because at the beginning of Qin dynasty, Luozhen focused on getting to know the handyman hall, so he paid attention to Bai Yu and knew that Bai Yu was also a rare talent. Okay, I will persuade him. Qin Chu nodded. He hoped for good development for his brother, Luozhen agreed, and Qin Chu left the main hall of Qingzhou Peak without saying anything unnecessary, and then went to the library on the main peak. He wanted to meet Mo Daozi, and it would not be long before the Jingshenzhian Ju was in his hands. He should also return it. Arriving in front of the library pavilion, Qin Chu only saw Ling Yunzi, not Mo Daozi. After Ling Yunzi pointed the direction, Qin Chu came to the attic where Mo Daozi was. Qin Chu had unobstructed access. He had no idea that the attic where Mo Daozi was located was a place that Qingyun sect disciples did not dare to approach without authorization. This was a strict order of the sect. The guards of the library pavilion were also the guards of the attic where Mo Daozi lived. Mo Daozi often deduced the secrets of heaven. Cannot be disturbed. Ling Yunzi knew what was going on with Qin Chu, so naturally he wouldn't stop him. In the quaint attic, Qin Chu saw Mo Daozi. Mo Daozi pointed to the futon opposite him and asked Qin Chu to sit down. Qin Chu took out the shocking sword art, held it in both hands, and handed it to Mo Daozi. Thank you, senior, for your love for Qin Chu. Just take the sword technique. No one else can practice it except you, and I won't let others practice it. Mo Daozi said to Qin Chu. After thinking for a while, Qin Chu withdrew the Jingshenzhian Ju. He had memorized the classics, but there were some benefits in having the classics by his side and reading them on a regular basis. You have comprehended the sword spirit realm, which is equivalent to having a strong foundation in sword Dao, but development is still very important. Do you know the true meaning of sword Dao? There was a genius in Qingyun sect who understood the true meaning of sword Dao some time ago. She should be better than you now, unless you enter level 3. Mo Daozi looked at Qin Chu and said. Who is she? Qin Chu asked. Disciple of the main peak, go to Shuyu. Mo Daozi said to Qin Chu. Chapter 0043 That Woman. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. After listening to Mo Daozi's words, the figure of a woman appeared in Qin Chu's mind. She was very elegant and very beautiful. It was that time when he had a conflict with Lu Ziki outside the main peak merit hall. This woman stood up and her name was Just Call Me Xianxia. Do you know him? Seeing Qin Chu deep in thought, Mo Daozi asked. Qin Chu nodded. Senior, I've met him once. She has understood the true meaning of the sword. The true meaning of the sword is referred to as sword intention. The power of swordsmanship will increase a lot with the blessing of sword intention. Although you have mastered the sword spirit realm, your foundation is not as deep as hers, so you still have to work hard to improve. Mo Daozi reminded. At the beginning of Qin dynasty. Senior, Qin Chu would like to ask, how did you cultivate the true meaning of swordsmanship? Qin Chu felt that these 4 words, the true meaning of swordsmanship, were very domineering, and it would be great if he could understand them. Mo Daozi was silent for a moment. What you need to master the sword spirit realm is spirituality. In the past history of our Qingyun sect, apart from the founder of the sect, I was the only one who could do it, and the other one is you. My spirituality is enough, but in terms of my understanding of the sword, I am not good enough, so I will never be able to experience the true meaning of swordsmanship in this life. I am looking forward to you. You can do it, because although there are not many people in Qingyun sect who understand the meaning of swordsmanship, there are still some. Junior understands and will not disappoint senior. Qin Chu hugged Mo Daozi. I see your confidence. Regarding your life experience, I will help you deduce it when the time is right. The time is really not here now. When the time comes, it is also the time for you to improve yourself. Mo Daozi said to Qin Chu. Qin Chu stood up and bowed to Mo Daozi. He felt Mo Daozi's sincerity and willingness to help him. Mo Daozi said nothing and hugged Mo Daozi's fists again. Qin Chu turned and left Mo Daozi's attic. After Qin Chu walked for a while, Mo Daozi remembered that Qin Chu didn't mention the 100,000 points he owed him, and didn't say when he would pay it back. After leaving Mo Daozi's residence, Qin Chu went to exchange for a few bottles of condensing yuan dan and some true yuan dan. He didn't need the true yuan dan now, but he would need it when he entered the third level. After returning to his residence, Qin Chu began to practice swordsmanship. He was used to practicing swordsmanship during the day and practicing vitality at night. Bai Yu is also practicing hard. He exchanged the sword art some time ago. Although it is not as domineering as Qin Chu's Jingxian sword art, it is still a unique skill worth 80,000 points. A few days passed in the blink of an eye, and Yan Yi came to the handyman compound that day. He came to see Qin Chu and Bai Yu. Common Service Courtyard. It has been nearly 10 years since I joined Qingzhou Peak and became a core disciple. I have never been to the service courtyard before, but I have been here several times this year. After leaving the service courtyard, Yan Yi felt a little emotional. The handyman courtyard is not as miserable as everyone imagined. Qin Chu said. Yan Yi turned around and looked at Qin Chu. That's not what I'm saying. If you hadn't come, this would have been a miserable handyman compound. Before, the handyman disciples here were unmotivated and lived a haphazard life, but that has indeed changed now. Qin Chu did not refute Yan Yi's words, because it was true. When he came, the atmosphere in the compound was not very good. After arriving at the main hall of Qingzhou Peak, Qin Chu saw Luozhen sitting in the main seat, and there were 3 other inner disciples, which could be seen by serving him. The 5 of you are the candidates from Qingzhou Peak to go to the Qinhuang ancient ruins. The captain is Qin Chu. Is there any problem with the 3 of you? Luozhen looked at the 3 inner disciples. Disciple has no problem and is willing to accept Qin Chu's leadership. The 3 inner disciples all bowed to Luozhen. They knew that although Qin Chu was a handyman disciple, he was not an ordinary handyman disciple. Luozhen even spoke. As long as Qin Chu is willing, he can be an inner disciple at any time. In terms of strength, Wu Cheng, who ranked second among the inner disciples of Qinyan sect, was killed by Qin Chu, and Qin Chu defeated Qin Chu who ranked first. It can be said that Qin Chu is the inner disciple of Qinyan sect. The strongest people below the 4th level, and Qin Chu competed for Qingzhou Peak, so they were willing to follow Qin Chu. Don't worry, Qin Chu, will not do anything to deceive our own people. Qin Chu said to the 3 inner disciples. Okay, let's get ready. Come and gather here tomorrow morning. Luozhen said. Qin Chu followed Bai Yu to change some pills, and then returned to the handyman compound. In the courtyard of the servants, Qin Chu saw 3 inner disciples. 2 of the 3 were pushing food boxes and 1 was carrying wine. Why are you standing there and no one is there to greet you? Come and sit inside. Qin Chu took the 3 inner disciples and Bai Yu to the wooden house on the edge of the cliff. Several people placed wine and food on the table outside the wooden house. My name is Xianxia, and their names are Han Yu and Qiu Zhan. The 3 of us have nothing to do, so we came over to talk to junior brother Qin. The leading inner disciple introduced them. Everyone, sit down. I am a handyman disciple. It is not appropriate for you to call me junior brother. Just call me Qin Chu. Qin Chu said. Xianxia smiled and said, Junior brother Qin said that the handyman disciples are also disciples of the Qinyan sect, but the division of labor is different, but the personality is the same. After listening to Xianxia's words, Qin Chu nodded. He found that these 3 inner disciples were relatively down-to-earth people. This time when we go to the Qinhuang ancient ruins, we are not only facing dangers within the ancient ruins, but also facing the attacks from the disciples of the main peak. It can be said that there is a crisis at every step. Qin Chu said. If they are dishonest, just wait until they are honest. Bai Yu opened the wine jar and said while pouring the wine. Qin Chu, you can make up your mind. Xianxia expressed his stance. Qin Chu hesitated for a moment. My attitude is very simple. I will not offend others unless they offend me. If they dare to offend me, they will be killed immediately. In addition, the Lei Feng master of Qianluo Peak came to me, hoping that we and their Qianluo Peak the disciples look after each other. I have no problem with this. After all, the dangers in the Qinhuang monument are unknown, and it is better to have more allies than more enemies. After having a drink, Xianxia and the others left. They came here to get acquainted with Qin Chu and Bai Yu first, so that everyone would not feel unfamiliar after entering the Qinhuang monument, which would lead to a lack of tacit understanding. After a night's rest, Qin Chu took Bai Yu to the Qingzhou Peak Hall, followed by Xianxia and the other three. Then the five of them were led by Luo Zhen to the main peak. The emergence of the Qinhuang ancient site was a major event for the Qinyin sect, and it was the joint action of the 7 peaks. Arriving at the square in front of the Qinyin sect's main hall, Qin Chu found that people from the other 5 peaks and the main peak had already arrived. After the troops from Qingzhou Peak arrived, Xianxia appeared and talked about the Qin king's monuments, and that the disciples of each peak should work hard to find the legacy of their predecessors, and the most important thing was the Qin king order. After Xianxia finished speaking, Lei Yin looked at the camp of the disciples of the main peak. The 4 core disciples have sacrificed their cultivation to the 3rd level, and Master Su has also invested money. Qin Chu looked over and saw Lu Nan. Behind Lu Nan was a team. He also saw Shang Shuyu. When Qin Chu looked over, Shang Shuyu also looked at him. Chapter 0044 Parting Ways. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. After sizing up Qin Chu, Shang Shuyu withdrew his gaze and looked at Xianxia. Lei Yin raised a question, and Xianxia had to answer. They have the courage to harm their own cultivation, so I will naturally give them a chance. Opportunities are reserved for those who are prepared, right? Xianxia said. Lei Yin smiled contemptuously. Qinyin sect is a sect with integrity, but in the eyes of Master Su, integrity is cheap. In this case, I have nothing to say. After hearing Lei Yin's words, Xianxia's face turned pale. What did Lei Yin mean? It means that he has no integrity, and he is called Master Su, not the deputy sect leader. He obviously does not recognize his status as deputy sect leader. It can be said that Lei Yin did not give him any face, but he cannot refute it. Taking a deep breath, Xianxia waved his hand, and the men and horses started to set off. Qin Chu looked at Bai Yu beside him. Exhale, inhale. What kind of magical skill are you trying to practice? It should be the turtle breathing technique. It is said that after practicing breathing and breathing to a certain level, you can be like a turtle, staying in the water without breathing. Bai Yu said to Qin Chu, which cultivator is not smart? Qin Chu and Bai Yu's words made some people want to laugh, but they suppressed them hard. Xianxia turned around and looked at Qin Chu and Bai Yu, his eyes filled with incomparable anger. Luo Zhen was here and he couldn't do anything, otherwise Qin Chu and Bai Yu would be crushed to death immediately. Why does the atmosphere feel a little wrong? I don't understand. Bai Yu looked at Qin Chu, but he still didn't understand what was going on. It doesn't matter if you don't understand. What matters is that others understand. Qin Chu said with a smile. At this time, Qin Chu's smile became very cute in the eyes of some people. What happened to the deputy sect leader? Don't treat you like a dish, and the disciples at the main peak look at Qin Chu, not to mention how angry they are. Xianxia's face is their face. Luo Zhen pretended not to hear anything and continued on his way with Qin Chu and others. Lei Yin led several of his disciples to the side of the Qingzhou Peak team. Qin Chu, you are very good. I appreciate you. Lei Yin extended his thumb to Qin Chu. Thank you for the compliment, Master Lei Peak. Qin Chu hugged Lei Yin. He felt that this female peak master of Qianluo Peak was a sweet-tempered person with a straightforward temper. The group left the Qinyin sect and arrived at the Miyan mountain area. This time they went deep into the Miyan mountain area. Because they were led by masters from the Qinyin sect, the monsters and beasts had long since dispersed and disappeared. One day later, a group of people arrived at the outskirts of a basin surrounded by mountains. The basin was filled with thick fog. Everyone, please wait a moment. It will take about a few hours before you can enter. Su Shanha said. If no one answered Su Shanha's words, the people from Chifeng were waiting in different areas. The people from Qingzhou Peak and Qianluo Peak were next to each other. Lei Yin introduced the team around him to Qin Chu. They were led by Lu Shui, who had fought with Qin Chu. There were also 1 man and 3 women, but the man looked at Qin Chu with a somewhat hostile look. Junior brother Qin, when we get out of the Qinhuang ancient ruins, we will have time to compete again. Lu Shui looked at Qin Chu and said, she was very natural, and she didn't take the failure of the previous competition too seriously. Well, that's no problem for me. Qin Chu said. Lei Yin looked at Qin Chu, what's wrong with you, kid? Call me senior sister, can you lose a piece of meat? Master Lei Peak, am I not a handyman disciple? It's not appropriate to call others senior brother or sister at will. Qin Chu said the reason. He didn't want others to think he was superior to anyone, and he didn't want to give others the opportunity to trample on his face. There is nothing inappropriate. You don't need to date people who think there is a gap in status. No one can look down on you. Luo Zhen spoke. Qin Chu is the glory of Qingzhou Peak. Is he lower than others? He doesn't think so. After listening to Luo Zhen's words, Qin Chu clasped his fists at Lu Shui and called him senior sister. After some exchanges, Qin Chu began to meditate, while Bai Yu, Xianxia, and Lu Shui chatted casually. 2 hours later, the thick fog receded a bit, and a sparkling circle of light appeared in front of everyone. Inside the circle was a blurry hall, and there was a circle of light on the door of the hall. You can enter now. Su Shanha said. Qin Chu stood up and walked towards the aperture. Bai Yu, Xianxia, Han Yu and Qiu Zhan followed Qin Chu, and then Lu Shui and others followed. It's not a good thing to be impatient. People like this are the ones who die first. Zhang Ji, who was standing next to Su Shanha, said, no longer caring about his face. A gentleman does not need to be on guard. He must be on guard against villains. It is still necessary to prevent others from setting up an ambush inside. Luo Zhen said. He could understand Qin Chu's thoughts. He was worried that others would go in first and then ambush. Then it's hard to deal with. In fact, Qin Chu and Luo Zhen had the same idea. There were some natural dangers in the Qinhuang ancient monument, but the portal area should be fine. If the people from the main peak were allowed to go in first, they would be ambushed. After entering the aperture, Qin Chu took the lead and entered the door of the main hall. Entering the main hall, the atmosphere became much more depressing. Although there were some lighting crystals on the walls, it was completely different from the atmosphere outside. Following the route he had determined by looking at the map in advance, Qin Chu led the troops behind him and quickly shuttled through the passages of the hall. The passages in the main hall extend downwards. The Qinhuang ancient ruins can be said to be a huge underground palace, which is underground. After driving for a while, under the leadership of Qin Chu, the people from Qingzhou Peak and several people from Qianluo Peak entered a hall. There were several passages in the hall, extending in all directions. Let's go this way. Qin Chuan chose a path. Why did you choose this one? The male disciple of Qianluo Peak asked. Qin Chu frowned. Why can't you choose this option? What if you choose a dead end? I think this one is better. The male disciple of Qianluo Peak pointed to another passage. There were differences of opinion. Qin Chu discovered that this Qianluo Peak disciple named Sha Han questioned him when he was unsure of the road conditions because he did not want to be in his team. Okay, then you take that way, and we all take this one. Qin Chu said. It's you from Qingzhou Peak, not everyone else. We Qianluo Peak disciples won't follow you and be your thugs, and then you get the benefits first. Sha Han stood between Lu Shui and Qin Chu. Qin Chu said nothing and parted ways, which was against his promise to Lei Yin, but Sha Shi was obviously up to something. Let's go. Shashi shouted to the people in Qianluo Peak, and then entered the passage he chose. Hey! Junior brother Qin, my captain is incompetent, but I can't leave junior brother Sha alone. Lu Shui was helpless. She didn't understand what happened to Sha Shi. It doesn't matter, let's go our separate ways. Senior Sister Lu, please be safe. Hugging his fists at Lu Shui, Qin Chu led Bai Yu and others into the passage he chose. Bai Yu walked to Qin Chu's side. Boss, that guy's eyes have always been wrong. It's better not to take them with you. We have to be careful. People on the main peak will definitely take action when they encounter us. That woman is very strong, so we must be careful. Qin Chu said. He remembered Mo Daozi's evaluation of Shang Shuyu, M. Chapter 0045. The background is huge. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. That particularly beautiful and temperamental woman on the main peak. Isn't she also an inner disciple of the third level of cultivation? Is she a ruthless person? Bai Yu looked at Qin Chu, his eyes full of surprise. I saw Shang Shuyu outside the Hall of Merit on the main peak. Junior brother Bai, she is not an ordinary third-level disciple. Her name is Shuyu. She understood the true meaning of swordsmanship some time ago. When the inner disciples of the sect were ranked last time, Su Shanha from the main peak said that because she was not here, it's a pity. What she meant is that if she were here, junior brother Qin wouldn't be able to win. She is the only disciple of the Qingyun sect in hundreds of years who has understood the true meaning of swordsmanship before the age of 20. Xianxia said. Said Bai Yu. Some people speak highly of her, so we must pay attention. After Qin Chu finished speaking, he took out the map and looked at it before continuing to move forward. In fact, Shang Shuyu was able to break through to the fourth level a long time ago. In the past, she suppressed and did not break through in order to accumulate her cultivation. After comprehending the true meaning of swordsmanship, she began to practice Ling Yunzi's swordsmanship inheritance. She suppressed it for a while, and just when she was planning to break through. At that time, Su Shanha found her, told her about Qingwang's monuments, and offered her some benefits. There was an error in the previous part and it has been corrected, that I felt that entering the Qingwang ancient ruins would not waste too much time, and besides, I could break through within the Qingwang ancient ruins, so Shang Shuyu agreed. Qin Chu had never thought of parting ways with the disciples of Qianluo Peak. He had no choice in this matter. He would not follow Sha Han, and Sha Han did not have the same heart as him. In addition, Qin Chu also knew that Lu Shui and others actually wanted to leave with him and the disciples of Qingzhou Peak. They were forced to leave, so they couldn't let go of Sha Han. After all, they belonged to the same sect and the same peak, so they couldn't abandon each other. Senior brother Zheng, now that we have left the portal area of Qingwang's ancient ruins, the external dangers have been reduced a lot. The next crisis will mainly come from within Qingwang's purpose. The first is the mechanism formation. We must try to avoid this. Open, if there is a monster, Senior brother Zheng will be responsible for reporting the level. If we meet a monster that Senior brother Zheng can't see, then we have to retreat if we can. Qin Chu made arrangements. Xianxia and the others are at the peak of the third level True Yuan realm. According to the rules for detecting cultivation, they can detect opponents who are no more than the third level of their own. If there is a monster with a cultivation level that they cannot see clearly, it is above the fourth level. Even stronger, monster beasts are divided into 7 levels like human cultivators. They are divided into the first level of Ju Yuan realm, the second level of Condensing Yuan realm, the third level of True Yuan realm, the fourth level of Ling Yuan realm, the fifth level of Tian Yuan realm, and the sixth level of King. The realm and the seventh level Venerable realm correspond to each other. The first and second level monsters are relatively common, while the third-level monsters release energy in their attacks, and their claws carry energy. At the fourth level, the speed and strength of the monsters have made a qualitative leap. The fifth-level monsters have been called commander-level monsters, and the sixth-level monsters are king-level monsters. At the sixth-level king-level monsters, they can when transformed into a human being, apart from being different in nature from humans, everything else is the same. Qin Chu was able to fight against fourth-level monsters and had killed many, but in this Qingwang historic site, he had to be careful. If Xianxia and others could not see their cultivation, then if they were not fourth level, they were fifth level commanders. What to do with level monsters? If they fight hard, they will be dead. After advancing for a while, Qin Chu suddenly felt an attack coming, so he unsheathed his sword and struck out, striking a black shadow, boom. A black shadow fell to the ground. It was a black rat more than 2 feet long. Can a gopher grow so big? Xiao Zhan said in surprise as he looked at the black mouse's body. This is not a gopher, it is a bloodthirsty rat. It has fleshy wings between its front paws and its body. It can fly for a short time. Please be careful. Qin Chu reminded everyone. As they advanced, the bloodthirsty rats continued to appear and attacked several people. However, Qin Chu's men had fast sword skills, and the bloodthirsty rats were chopped down before they could attack them. These bloodthirsty rats are too violent. If we are defeated by them, they can chew us into bones. Han Yu said. We are currently still in the passage area outside the Qinhuang ancient ruins. Anything may happen if we continue to move forward. This time our target is the Baixing Tower area in the Qinhuang ancient ruins. Qin Chu glanced at the body of the bloodthirsty rat. Said. What is Baixing Tower? Bai Yu looked at Qin Chu. It seems that you don't know much about King Qin's life. He was expelled from the sect by the founder of the sect because he was too murderous. Baixing Tower is an area he created after killing hundreds of strong men. Every area the situation of the opponent has been recorded, and there may be battle trophies stored, and if you are lucky, you will gain something. Qin Chu said what he knew about the situation. That means there will be more opportunities in the Baixing Tower area, right? Zheng Qiu said excitedly. My judgment is this. It often depends on luck. The disciples of other peaks will also know the news that I can know. Those guys on the main peak will only have better information than us and will not lag behind us. Qin Chu said. Bai Yu and others expressed that they understood that the background of the main peak was indeed much deeper than that of the other 6 peaks, and it was normal to know more. After the team from the main peak entered the Qinhuang ancient ruins, they did not move together. After Shang Shuyu glanced at Lu Nan and others, he frowned and left by himself. She knew the character of Lu Nan and others, so she disdained to be with Lu Nan and others. Shang Shuyu's departure made Lu Nan a little angry, because he obviously didn't take him as the captain seriously, but Lu Nan had nothing to do. When confirming that he entered the Qinhuang ancient ruins, Su Shanhe told him, Shang Shuyu has a lot of background, so don't provoke him. Even Su Shanhe felt that Shang Shuyu had a strong background, so there was no way he, Lu Nan, could provoke him. Lu Nan, our prince means that Qin Chu must be killed. Now we don't know where Qin Chu is. An inner disciple looked at Lu Nan and said without much politeness in his words. He didn't even call senior brother Lu, because they are clean people. Don't be anxious, follow me. Shahan from Qianluo Peak is holding the same map as ours. He will bring those people to meet at the place we agreed on and take them down in one fell swoop. Kill Qin Chu's a few bastards and the female disciples from Qianluo Peak can be used to celebrate. Lu Shui is mine. You can choose the others. A cold smile appeared on Lu Nan's face. After Lu Shui and others caught up with Sha Han, they directly expressed their dissatisfaction. Sha Han, do you know who is the captain? The woman next to Lu Shui spoke up. Her name is Lin Mei, and she is Lu Shui's good friend. Sha Han's behavior made her very dissatisfied. Then Qin Chu is not a kind person. If we follow him, we will be tricked. Sha Han's eyes were a little dodgy. I think he is not a kind person and is unwilling to act together. Then why didn't you say anything when the Peak Master explained it? It happened now. Lu Shui was very angry. She knew Qin Chu's strength and the risk of acting together would be much smaller. In addition, she also believed Qin Chu's behavior. I think our own actions are the same. At least we can be independent and will not be plotted. Sha Han lowered his head and said, no one saw a trace of evil in the corners of his eyes. Chapter 0046 Just Fight to the Death. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Lu Shui was very angry, but she knew that things were already like this, and getting angry would not help. Moreover, it was not that things could not be done after leaving the team at Qingzhou Peak. Senior sister, this is a map I found in the library. This map is quite detailed. Let's move forward according to the map. There is no problem with safety. If there is no problem with safety, we will harvest again. Shahan took out a map was handed to Lu Shui. After taking a look at the map, Lu Shui felt that Shahan's map record was indeed more detailed, so she looked at it and returned the map to Shahan. Then junior brother, lead the way. After Shahan finished speaking, he began to lead the way. Qin Chu and Bai Yu continued to advance in the battle. The monsters they encountered were not of high level. They could fight, but they did not pose any threat. When night came, Qin Chu and others stopped moving forward, took out food, satiated their stomachs, and then arranged for people to be on duty while others meditated. Qin Chu took the Ning Yuan pill and meditated. It took 2 months for Qin Wang's secret realm to appear. 2 months later, it would sink into the ground again, and it would be several years before he was born. These 2 months were the time to look for opportunities, but Qin Chia doesn't want to delay his training. If everything goes well, he can enter the 3rd level during this period. After resting until dawn, Qin Chu looked at the map and continued moving forward. Head, how big are the Qinwang monuments? Bai Yu asked. It's very big. Senior Qinwang back then was the invincible in this area and had the qualifications to open the door to establish a sect. He didn't open the door to establish a sect. He stayed here because he had feelings for Qinyan sect. His management here was greatly ruined. The effort is no smaller than that of Qinyan sect, so let's move slowly. Qin Chu said some things he knew. While advancing, Qin Chu saw some human and monster skeletons. He knew that the people who could come here were disciples of the Qinyan sect, so he collected those who could help collect the corpses. Of course, there were supplies, and Qin Chu and the others also don't let it go. Qin Chu did not pursue the speed of progress, but moved forward slowly and steadily. Was the opportunity snatched away? Qin Chu didn't think so. If the opportunity was easy to come by, the disciples of the Qinyan sect who had entered in the past would have swept away the opportunity long ago. Xianxia and others were not in a hurry. They were convinced of Qin Chu, because when the monsters appeared, Qin Chu was at the forefront. According to the current progress, we will reach the Baixing Tower area in 2 days. After another battle, Qin Chu said after looking at the map. Junior brother Qin, King Qin's ancient ruins are very strange. You said it's a palace, but it doesn't look like it. You said it's a cemetery. There's light everywhere here. Han Yu said. It is indeed quite special, please pay more attention to safety. Qin Chu put the map away and continued to lead the way. After advancing for a while, Qin Chu waved his arm, causing the people behind him to stop, because he saw the skeletons of 3 human cultivators. There were obvious claw marks on the waist, ribs and head of the skeletons, and there were teeth in other places. At this time, there was a roar of a beast, and a dark demon tiger with 2 wings appeared, looking at Qin Chu and others with violent eyes. Retreat! Qin Chu shouted without Xianxia confirming his cultivation level. Qin Chu and the others quickly retreated into a small hall. Qin Chu looked at Yao Hu at the door. Boss, this guy's aura is very strong. Bai Yu said looking at Qin Chu. It was the one who killed the owners of those bones. It was able to kill the disciples of the Qinyan sect many years ago. This means that it was very powerful many years ago. Coupled with its growth over the years, it is very dangerous. Qin Chu stared at the demon tiger, ready to take action at any time. The demon tiger swam back and forth for a few steps outside the hall, then leapt towards Qin Chu, its claws splitting into the air. Ding! A clear sound came out, and Qin Chu drew his sword. This time, Qin Chu didn't hold back. After entering the sword spirit realm, he performed a shocking transformation. It is his strongest offensive sword move, and it is the first time he has used it since he successfully practiced. When he drew his sword, Qin Chu also punched out his left fist, stab. Qin Chu's long sword passed through the side of the demon tiger's left front paw, and directly stabbed the demon tiger's throat at the clavicle. Qin Chu wanted to stab the demon tiger's throat, but the demon tiger's speed was too fast, and he did not attack. To the exact location, when Qin Chu's long sword attack was successful, the demon tiger's double claw attack also arrived in front of Qin Chu. Qin Chu turned his body to avoid the demon tiger's left front paw, and his left fist collided with the demon tiger's right front paw. Boom. Qin Chu was so shocked that he flew backwards, but at this time Bai Yu and Xianxia took action. Their long swords flashed and attacked the demon tiger's body flashed and its claws flew, knocking Xianxia and the others away, but Bai Yu struck him again with a sword at its throat and collarbone. After running a nameless mental technique to stabilize his own turbulent energy and blood, Qin Chu dodged his body and pounced on the demon tiger again. He knew that the demon tiger was violent, and if he didn't kill the demon tiger, the 5 of them would be in trouble. Qin Chu fought in front of the demon tiger, while Bai Yu and others attacked from the side. The 5 of them fought against the demon tiger, but Qin Chu and the others were constantly pushed back. "Junior brother Qin, we can't see this guy's cultivation level. We don't know what level he is." Xianxia shouted to Qin Chu. "It's either the late 4th level or the peak 4th level. If it's the 5th level, we will definitely die." Qin Chu said his judgment. The battle is still going on. Qin Chu's swordsmanship is strong, but without the blessing of vitality, it is not lethal enough and cannot threaten the demon tiger. Compared with physical strength, Qin Chu and the demon tiger still have some disadvantages. "Fight it to the death." Bai Yu roared angrily. At this time, a claw of the demon tiger flew past, making a bloody gash on Bai Yu's chest. Bai Yu was injured, which made Qin Chu angry. He rushed towards the demon tiger in a flash. After his long sword attack was deflected by the demon tiger's paw, he did not retreat. He grabbed the demon tiger's left front paw with his left hand and quickly moved his body. Turning over, his back was close to the demon tiger's chest, and then he threw the sword with his right hand, grabbed the demon tiger's right front paw with his right hand, and pressed his head against the demon tiger's throat, restricting the demon tiger's movement. The demon tiger's head pressed down, and his neck pressed against Qin Chu's head, trying to crush Qin Chu. "Ah!" Qin Chu roared and refused to let go. The power of the demon tiger was too great. It did not bend Qin Chu's body, but pressed Qin Chu to the ground. After pressing Qin Chu down, the demon tiger bent down and tried to break away from Qin Chu. At this time, Bai Yu and others seized the opportunity. Bai Yu's long sword pierced the demon tiger's heart. Han Yu and Qiu Zhan grabbed the demon tiger's the 2 hind legs pulled hard to prevent Qin Chu from being stepped on. Qin Chu roared angrily, grabbing the demon tiger's 2 front paws with both hands, and pressing his head against the demon tiger's neck. Han Yu and Qiu Zhan also roared, holding on to the demon tiger's hind legs. Bai Yu, who was worried about Qin Chu's safety, stabbed the long sword in Yao Hu's heart, pulled it out, stabbed it in again, back and forth. Xianxia's long sword penetrated the demon tiger's mouth. Boom! Boom! The demon tiger kicked Han Yu and Qiu Zhan out with 2 back kicks, but it was also exhausted. Just when Qin Chu was about to breathe a sigh of relief, he noticed someone coming from the corner of his eye. The person who came was wearing a white skirt, with a long sword hanging from the waistband, and a cold aura on his face. It was Xianxia who appeared. Chapter 0047 Don't Eat Fireworks. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. At this time, Bai Yu also saw Xianxia. With one flying kick, he kicked the demon tiger away from Qin Chu, who was only breathing, and quickly pulled Qin Chu up. Qin Chu took a step to the side, held the long sword stuck on the ground in his hand, and then looked at Xianxia. He knew that Xianxia was very strong, and his current condition was also very bad, but he was timid. Things don't happen to him. At this time, Bai Yu and Xianxia, who were injured, did not speak. They all stood behind Qin Chu with long swords. They would not let Qin Chu fight on his own. If you don't take the demon tiger's blood, once it dies, the energy of the blood will disappear. After looking at Qin Chu, Xianxia tapped the demon tiger with his chin. Qin Chu waved his left hand and asked Baiyu to clean up the demon tiger's hard work. He kept looking at Xianxia. There is hostility in your eyes, are we enemies? Xianxia spoke, his voice was pleasant, but Qin Chu felt a little cold. Aren't we enemies? Qin Chu asked back. Before, you fought with the main peak and trampled on the dignity of the main peak disciples. I really couldn't stand it. I have a reason to dislike it, right? It's because I can't stand it. In your heart, I am the enemy. Is this your logic? Shuyu frowned slightly. Qin Chu was a little confused. Shuyu's attitude was not very clear. Is this considered an enemy or not? I heard the sound of fighting and came here because I was passing by. Xianxia explained his attitude. Qin Chu put away the long sword. You are passing by, what do you think? How do I know that you are just passing by and not taking advantage of others' danger? A truly strong person can face everything calmly, instead of being like a frightened bird like you. Xianxia did not leave, but struck Qin Chu, ignoring Shuyu and giving Xianxia a warning look. Qin Chu followed Baiyu to collect materials from the demon tiger. After Qin Chu collected the blood of the demon tiger essence, he took the crystal core. After looking at the crystal core, Qin Chu determined that the demon tiger was a 4th level and 9th level monster, 1 level shy of the 5th level. Then Qin Chu pulled the tiger's tendons and cut its gall. Can the tiger gall be sold? Xianxia asked. Finally showing his true colors, are you going to rob me? I'll give you a tiger whip, do you want it? When Xianxia said that he wanted to be brave, Qin Chu suddenly became unwilling and no longer polite in his words. Aha! Xianxia drew his sword, and a sword energy fell on the ground beside Qin Chu, cutting a hole in the ground. You should be polite. If I want to snatch it, you can't stop me. It's not the sword energy being released outwards, it's the sword energy attacking from the sword, which is much more domineering than the sword light. Are you sure of me? Qin Chu raised his right hand and held the long sword in his hand. So what if the opponent is strong? He won't shrink. It's not that I'm sure of you, I just want to talk to you about whether I can sell my tiger gallbladder. Don't think so low of others. Seeing Qin Chu draw his sword, Xianxia was also stunned for a moment. Why dare you fight her? After she entered the Qingyuan ancient ruins, she first found a place to break through to the 4th level of Lingyuan realm, and then began to explore the situation of the Qingyuan ancient ruins. Now Qin Chu was 2 levels behind her. Not level. Tell me what price you want. After looking at Baiyu and others, Qin Chu spoke. 2 spiritual stones. 2 stones emitting energy appeared in Xianxia's left hand. Senior brother Zheng, Baiyu, what is that? Qin Chu looked at Baiyu and Xianxia and asked. Baiyu felt helpless at Qin Chu's ignorance. He reached out and patted his forehead. It's a good thing. You'll definitely make money without losing money. Qin Chu took out the bottle containing tiger gall and said, Beauty, throw those 2 stones first, and I'll give you the tiger gall. The heart of a villain. After giving Qin Chu a look of contempt, Xianxia threw 2 spiritual stones to Qin Chu. After Qin Chu took the spirit stone and looked at it, he gave one to Xianxia and Baiyu, and then threw the bottle of tiger gall to Xianxia. I am being careful, not a villain. After taking the tiger gall, Xianxia did not leave, but took out a futon and started meditating directly. After Qin Chu looked at Xianxia, he turned to look at Qiu Zhan and Han Yu. There are only 2 spiritual stones. Give them to Baiyu and senior brother Zheng first. Next time there is a loot, senior brother Han Yu and senior brother Qiu Zhan will take it first. No. You killed this demon tiger because of your resistance. I don't want this spiritual stone. Baiyu took the spiritual stone and stuffed it into Qin Chu's hand. The same goes for Xianxia. He originally thought that Qin Chu would give him the spirit stone to see if it was true or false, but he didn't expect Qin Chu to give it to them directly. Take it. If we work together, there will be more and more good things. After Qin Chu finished speaking, he began to meditate and recover. This is not a safe place. It is important to maintain peak condition. Qin Chu meditated for a long time before standing up. His internal organs that were injured by the monster tiger were back to normal, and he felt that his cultivation level had improved a lot. At this time, Baiyu brought some roasted demon tiger meat to Qin Chu. Qin Chu thought for a while and came some distance in front of Xianxia. If you don't think I am an enemy, I'll give you this. You are not qualified to be my enemy at the moment, and I won't eat these. Xianxia took out a bottle of water, took 2 sips and said. If you don't eat the fireworks of the world. If you don't want to eat, you won't eat. But your words are too shocking, but it doesn't matter. Qin Chu smiled and returned to his original position. After taking a rest, he looked at the sky. Qin Chu and the others they continued to move forward, but at this time Xianxia also stood up and followed a few people behind. What do you want to do? Qin Chu turned around. Although beautiful women are very eye-catching and can make people feel happy, in this Qinhuang monument, Qin Chu dare not be careless. In case of a battle, Xianxia will be there. What should I do if I give him a try later? My map doesn't mark this area. I don't know how to get out. A rare blush appeared on Xianxia's face. Wipe. Qin Chu doesn't know how to play anymore. A woman is lost and he won't let her follow her. That's too inhumane, but if he keeps following her, it's not a problem. You fight for yourselves. I won't steal any resources or opportunities. If I find a place marked on the map in my hand, I will leave. Xianxia saw Qin Chu's concerns. I want to ask the truth, what do you think of the conflicts between me and the main peak? If you don't deal with me, won't you vent your anger on the main peak? Qin Chu still felt a little unsure. It's nothing to look at. I just stay in Qinyan sect. Staying at the main peak is the same as other peaks. I can also go to Qingzhou Peak for meditation. In fact, there are some reasons why I am in Qinyan sect. I only stayed in Qinyan sect for 3 years. I will leave when 3 years are up. Xianxia looked at Qin Chu and said. Follow her. If she has any malicious intentions, we can't seem to be able to defeat her, Baiyu whispered. Can you have some ambition? After glaring at Baiyu, Qin Chu continued to lead the way. After advancing for a while, Qin Chu suddenly heard scolding sounds, and then a figure rushed out from the area beside them. It was a woman. The woman's body was covered with blood. It was Lu Shui. As Lu Shui appeared, Lu Nan and several others also appeared, with Sha Han among them. Seeing this scene, Qin Chu knew that the excitement was coming. Chapter 0048 Who is Ruthless? You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Lu Shui's body was covered in blood, her clothes were disheveled, and a large area of her youth was leaked. Lu Nan and others had cruel smiles on their faces. When they saw Qin Chu, Lu Nan's smile became even brighter. However, when he saw Xianxia, his expression changed. Qin Chu waved his arm and threw a robe to Lu Shui, allowing Lu Shui to cover her exposed body. Qin Chu, they are not human beings. All 3 junior sisters are dead. They were killed after being ruined by them. Lu Shui's eyes were filled with sadness and hatred. Sha Han, you have been one of theirs from the beginning, right? Qin Chu looked at Sha Han. Looking at Qin Chu, Sha Han had a sneer on his face. If you go against Prince Qin, you will die miserably. Qin Chu understood why Sha Han broke the alliance between the disciples of Qingzhou Peak and Qianluo Peak, because he himself was a Qianqing person. Xianxia, come here. Our main peak will definitely be the winner this time. Lu Nan looked at Xianxia. Xianxia's face was covered with frost. Why go there? In fact, the disputes and conflicts between your peaks are not important to me. If outsiders attack the disciples of Qinyan sect, I will take action. Now I don't care about your life or death. Care. After listening to Xianxia's words, Qin Chu felt a little relieved. Originally, he thought that Xianxia might be part of this conspiracy. He and Baiyu and others encountered a big crisis. but now it seems that it is not the case. Xianxia disdains it. Together with Lu Nan and others, that means Xianxia's appearance was accidental. Since uncle and junior sisters don't want to, then forget it. Without uncle and junior sisters here, we can deal with them. Lu Nan waved his arm, and the people behind him started to kill Qin Chu and the others. Ding! A clear sound came out, and Qin Chu drew his sword. His feet shook and he rushed forward a few steps. Then the sword shook, and several rays of sword light shot out in all directions, fish and dragon dance. Qin Chu performed the unique move of fish-dragon dance in the Jingshengjian Ju. The sword light flashed in front of him, causing the expressions of Lu Nan and others to change, and they quickly drew out their swords to resist. With a few crisp sounds, Lu Nan and others were knocked back by Qin Chu's sword, but Qin Chu also took a few steps back. His body strength was strong, but the strength of Lu Nan's vitality was not something he could compete with. The bursts of vitality on the swords of several people were too much for him to bear. At this time, Bai Yu, Xianxia, Han Yu and Xiu Zhan took action, killing the people behind Lu Nan. Lu Shui, whose breath was not stable, also took action, targeting Sha Han. This time Sha Han caused Qianluo Feng misery. Several sisters would not close their eyes. Even if they died in battle, Lu Shui would avenge them. The melee began. Qin Chu fought against Lu Nan and another core disciple who had lowered his cultivation to the peak of the 3rd level. The others also fought against each other. Among them, there were 2 people who attacked Bai Yu. Mainly Lu Nan led many people. They also know that Bai Yu is the number 2 person. The fighting power of Lu Nan and the others is indeed tyrannical. They have sacrificed their cultivation from the 4th level to the peak of the 3rd level. However, their combat experience and understanding of combat skills are all at the 4th level, which is much better than Qin Chu and others. Quite a few. It didn't take long for Bai Yu to be hit by a sword in the waist. He was a 3rd level cultivation, but he was only in the middle of 3rd level, which was far behind the opponent's peak 3rd level cultivation. With a sinking heart, Qin Chu entered the sword spirit realm, and with the basic swordsmanship blessed by Jingshengjian Ju, he pressed towards Lu Nan and the other guy, Xianxia, who was watching the battle, was surprised, because Qin Chu's state had changed, and the battle had changed from a stalemate to a suppression. Every time the long sword struck out, it was to attack the enemy and save Lu Nan. And the defensive weakness of another core disciple, forcing the 2 of them to return to their swords to protect themselves. Although Qin Chu's sword skills are still basic sword moves, they are extremely fast, and each move is connected like a flowing cloud, seamlessly Tiancheng. Every sword has the effect of turning decay into magic. Sword spirit realm. Xianxia recognized it. She was not an ignorant disciple of the Qinyan sect. She could understand the true meaning of the sword. She knew a little about the situation and state of the sword spirit realm, so she knew what was going on with Qin Chu now. After suppressing Lu Nan and his companions, Qin Chu moved laterally and approached Bai Yu and his opponent's battle group. Then the long sword in his hand trembled, and he hit the killing move of the Jingxian sword Ju, and activated the Jingxian transformation. Go out, ding! With a crisp sound, the long sword in Qin Chu's hand, which was blessed with body strength, shook off the opponent's block, and poured directly into the opponent's throat, killing with one sword. Qin Chu's long sword was blessed by the sword spirit realm, and with the speed boost of the Jingxian sword art, he directly killed an opponent. After killing an opponent, Qin Chu turned around and faced the attack of Lu Nan and his companions again. Then Qin Chu made another surprise attack and killed another of Bai Yu's opponents. Qin Chu showed his fangs twice and killed 2 disciples from the main peak. One of them was a core disciple who had reached the peak of the 3rd level due to self-sacrifice. 2 members of the main peak camp were killed. Now the situation in the Qinzhou peak camp improved and the numbers became equal. Carrying Lu Nan and another strong opponent, Qin Chu glanced around, mainly focusing on Xianxia, and the other groups of Lu Shui and Sha Han. Lu Shui was stronger than Sha Han, but she was injured and her waist was bleeding continuously, so she was suppressed by Sha Han. The situation was precarious. Turning to look at Xianxia, Qin Chu stretched out his arm and used the unbreakable sword in the Jingxian sword art. After blocking the attack of Lu Nan and his companions, he took advantage of the counterattack of the other party's vitality and moved towards Sha Han. To kill him, he still used the Jingxian transformation in the Jingxian sword art. Sha Han was indeed cunning. He knew Qin Chu's lethality, so when Qin Chu made a sword move, he started to dodge it. However, he still underestimated the power of Qin Chu's shocking transformation. Qin Chu's long sword failed. It stabbed him in the throat, but as Qin Chu's long sword stabbed straight into an oblique slash, his right arm holding the sword was chopped off. However, due to a change of move, Qin Chu failed to defend in time and was slashed in the back by Lu Nan. It's strange that you don't get killed when you don't concentrate during the battle, Shang Shuyu said. She knew that Qin Chu was guarding against her and refused to approach her, so she appeared to avoid it. Not timely, Qin Chu wanted to curse, but when you were fighting, someone was watching you with eager eyes. That's easy to say. Qin Chu's condition declined a bit due to a slash on his back, and he was suppressed by Lu Nan and his assistants. However, with Baiyu's support, the situation stabilized. After calming down his energy and blood, Qin Chu used the Jingxian transformation again and penetrated Lu Nan's assistant through the chest, but at the cost of Lu Nan's sword in the abdomen. You bastard, let's see who among us is ruthless. The injured Qin Chu's face was full of fighting spirit. He looked down on Lu Nan and the others. Lu Nan himself was jointly attacked by Qin Chu and Baiyu. Even though he had rich fighting experience and a fourth-level understanding of combat skills, he couldn't withstand it. Not long after, Qin Chu chopped off his right wrist and then kicked him to the ground. At this time, Baiyu and Lu Shui, who had eliminated Sha Han's combat effectiveness, began to attack Xianxia, Han Yu and Qiu Zhan's opponents. Qin Chu covered the wound on his abdomen with his left hand and looked at Shang Shuyu with a sword in his right hand. He knew whether the battle was really won or not, but also depended on Shuyu's attitude. If Shang Shuyu played hard, the people present would probably no one can survive. Holding the long sword in his right hand, Shang Shuyu took 2 steps to close the distance between Qin Chu. Chapter 0049 The sword intent is in the body. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Seeing Shuyu walking towards him, Qin Chu slowly raised the long sword in his right hand and raised it to his eyes. The sword can be broken, but it must be broken in battle. I will die like you, that is die on the way to battle. That while talking to himself, Qin Chu raised his left hand that was covering the wound on his abdomen. His left hand with blood on it slowly smoothed along the handle of the long sword and slid towards the tip of the sword. As Qin Chu's left hand slid, the aura on his body changed and became colder, and the long sword began to tremble. Seeing Qin Chu's change, Shang Shuyu took 2 steps back, his eyes full of surprise. At this time, Qin Chu's eyes flashed, and he swung his sword towards Shang Shuyu. The battle begins. Qin Chu's long sword trembled, and he slashed out towards Shang Shuyu one after another. Shang Shuyu unsheathed the sword in his right hand and resisted Qin Chu's attack during the swing. Seeing this situation, Baiyu gave up and Lu Shui's siege on the main peak and started to help Qin Chu. However, as soon as he arrived at the scene, he was kicked far away by Shang Shuyu in the air. After kicking Baiyu away, Shang Shuyu continued to fight Qin Chu, but he was still on the defensive. With a roar, Baiyu continued to rush towards Qin Chu and Shang Shuyu's battle group. It was impossible for him to ignore Qin Chu. When he met the violent bear in Mian Mountain, Qin Chu did not give up on him. He regarded Qin Chu as a matter of life and death. Brother. Shang Shuyu floated and kicked again, kicking Baiyu away again. Qin Chu swung his long sword, and the cold aura on his body became stronger and stronger. The cold aura on Shang Shuyu's fair face increased, and the speed of his long sword swing became faster and faster. Just when Baiyu ignored the blood flowing from the corner of his mouth and still wanted to attack, Lu Shui pulled Baiyu and said, "Don't be impulsive." She didn't mean to hurt Qin Chu. She was passively defending. After Baiyu stopped and took a look, he found that the situation was indeed similar to what Lu Shui said. After fighting for a quarter of an hour, Shang Shuyu's long sword collided with Qin Chu's long sword, knocking Qin Chu back. "If you don't treat me, you will bleed out in a while." Qin Chu, who was repulsed, was leaning on the ground with the long sword in his right hand. He looked at Xianxia with his eyes. He didn't understand this woman a little. If he had the chance to kill himself, would he not kill him? You don't know the situation, so you attack randomly because you are not calm. Xianxia threw a bottle of pills in his left hand in front of Qin Chu. At this time, Qin Chu understood that Xianxia had just approached him to give him the elixir, so he just drew his sword and started fighting. Think more about the feeling just now. Xianxia stepped back a distance, took out the futon and sat down. Bai Yu came to Qin Chu's side, pulled off Qin Chu's outer robe, and pulled off his inner underwear. After wiping Qin Chu's blood, he began to help Qin Chu treat his wounds. After this battle, Qin Chu was indeed miserable. There was a long bloody gash on his back and a big hole in his abdomen, both of which were injured by Lu Nan. Seeing Qin Chu's naked upper body, Lu Shui and others were very surprised, including Shu Yu, because Qin Chu had too many scars on his body, including claw marks, tooth marks, and a conspicuous scar in the middle of his chest. 2. Why do you have so many scars on your body? Bai Yu asked while treating the wounds on Qin Chu's back. If you want to live, you have to fight. This is what I left behind when I lived in the mountains and fought against monsters. Qin Chu tore open his ruined underwear and wrapped 2 circles around the wound on his abdomen where trauma medicine had been applied. Then he took out Yijian's underwear and put it on, and then put on his outer robe. After taking care of his injuries, Qin Chu looked at the battlefield. Lu Nan and others were all dead, and the only one still alive was Sha Han, who was missing his right hand. What's going on? Qin Chu looked at Lu Shui and asked. He is a member of Qianqing. This time they want to kill our Qianluo Peak people first, and then kill you. My 3 junior sisters have all suffered their humiliation. In order to torture me, they tied me up, forcing me to watch their atrocities. I took out the dagger from the storage bracelet, cut the rope, killed one of their accomplices, and ran out with the desperate help of a junior sister. Lu Xuan. It was full of sadness. She escaped, but the other 3 female disciples of Qianluo Peak were brutally humiliated and finally killed. Sometimes people are human, and sometimes they are worse than animals. Qin Chu sighed. He was helpless about some things. At that time, he really couldn't stop the Qianluo Peak disciples from leaving. Everyone needs to recover first. After Qin Chu finished speaking, he meditated to heal his injuries. As for Xianxia, who was still on the side, he ignored him anymore. He knew very well that if Xianxia had evil intentions, he would not be able to withstand it. The nameless mental method was circulating, Qin Chu's body's energy and blood flowed faster, and the wounds scabbed quickly. After a battle, everyone was very exhausted, and everyone repaired all day and night. At dawn, Qin Chu opened his eyes, and then drew his sword. He still remembered the feeling when he fought with Xianxia. With a flick of his wrist, Qin Chu's long sword stretched out flat, and then stopped moving. Then the aura on his body changed, and the aura continued to rise. As a clear sound came out, Qin Chu moved his wrist and displayed basic sword skills, but this time his basic sword skills were different from before. At this time, his basic sword skills had a murderous aura. The sword can be broken, but it must be broken in battle. This is the sword's fearlessness. Only with this state of mind can one understand the true meaning of the sword. Xianxia said. You said what I feel now is sword intention. Qin Chu stopped holding the sword in his hand and looked at Xianxia. Xianxia nodded. Remember, you owe me a big favor. If I killed you yesterday or didn't fight, you just took this opportunity. If you want to have such an opportunity again, then you don't know what year it will be. It's been months. After thinking about yesterday's situation, Qin Chu hugged his fists to Xianxia and said, Thank you, beautiful woman. Qin Chu recognizes this favor. If you hadn't fought with me, I really wouldn't be able to grasp this feeling. Countless people have spent their entire lives unable to find this feeling. Even if you come to Qinhuang ancient ruins and get nothing, as long as you can get out alive, you will be the biggest winner. Xianxia looked at Qin Chu and said. What did you say you were scaring me for? But it's a pretty good scare. Qin Chu felt that this surprise came quite unexpectedly. Shang Shuyu didn't say anything, and Qin Chu continued to practice his sword. Qin Chu felt that his Jingshenzhian Ju had undergone a different change. It felt completely different from the sword spirit realm. The sword spirit realm was a realm, but now it was momentum. When Qin Chu finished practicing his sword skills, Lu Shui poured Qin Chu a cup of hot tea. When Qin Chu was practicing swordsmanship, Bai Yu and others got food and boiled hot water. After looking at the demon tiger meat roasted by Bai Yu and others, and then at Shang Shuyu, Qin Chu took the teapot, walked a little distance in front of Shang Shuyu, and put the teapot down. He didn't want to get close to this woman. A little stressful. Chapter 0050 Meeting Again. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ignoring Qin Chu, Shang Shuyu took the teapot and poured himself a cup of tea. After drinking the water, Qin Chu continued to practice the sword, feeling the sword's intention and understanding what the sword's intention was. After resting in place for 3 days, the group continued on the road, but before going on the road, Lu Shui got rid of Sha Han. In the past 3 days, Bai Yu, Xianxia and others had beaten Sha Han violently. Joining forces with others to harm one's fellow practitioners and sisters is a despicable act that is despised by all cultivators and will not be tolerated by anyone. Junior brother Qin, how are your injuries? Lu Shui asked Qin Chu as they advanced. That day she saw with her own eyes that Qin Chu had a deep wound on his back, and his abdomen was also penetrated by Lu Nan's long sword. It was very deep, but in the past 2 days, Qin Chu should practice sword practice as if he was not injured. It's nothing. It will be fine after a few days of relaxation. Qin Chu said. While advancing, a monster appeared, and Qin Chu took action to deal with it, using his newly realized sword sense. Junior brother Qin, where are you from? Xianxia asked while collecting the crystal core of the monster beast that was killed by Qin Chu's sword. I don't know, deep in the mountains. Qin Chu wiped the long sword in his hand and inserted the long sword into the scabbard on his back. How come you live in the deep mountains and your parents are hunters? Lu Shui asked. Qin Chu took a breath and shook his head. I don't know, I haven't seen them, but they shouldn't be hunters. I think they should be very capable. After finishing speaking, Qin Chu continued to move forward, leaving Lu Shui and a group of others looking at each other. Qin Chu's simple words contained a lot of information. After 2 days of advancement, the group arrived at the Baixing Tower area. While Qin Chu was studying the map, Shang Shuyu came to Qin Chu's side and said, My map has a mark on this area. Thank you for the tea along the way. After speaking, Shang Shuyu turned around and left. You don't have to leave. Looking at Shang Shuyu's back, Qin Chu shouted. Shang Shuyu paused for a moment before continuing to move forward. Thank you for your help in improving my swordsmanship, please be safe. Seeing that Shuyu had no intention of staying, Qin Chu shouted again, turning around and nodding to Qin Chu. Shang Shuyu sped away. This is the Baishenglu area, and now it's time to find an opportunity. Should we all act together or separately? Let's meet again when we're almost done. After watching Shang Shuyu leave, Qin Chu turned around and looked at Bai Yu and others and said. Bai Yu was silent for a moment. I'll go around by myself. I can't just follow you around all the time. The same goes for Xianxia and others. After what happened in the past few days, they discovered the gap between themselves and Qin Chu. Qin Chu was at the 2nd level of cultivation. He had not yet reached the 3rd level, but the battle was already at the 4th level. In addition, Uncle Shang they also saw Yu's strength, which made them have a strong desire to become stronger. Okay, let's meet here in 5 days. Qin Chu said to several people, holding fists at Qin Chu. Bai Yu and others dispersed and entered the Baixing Tower area. After pondering for a while, Qin Chu also left the place and walked towards the Baixing Tower. If you have an opportunity, you have to look for it. As for the Qin Wangling, Qin Chu didn't have much hope. Countless years have passed and Qin Wang's monuments have appeared several times. In the past, the Qin Yun sect's disciples couldn't find the Qin Wangling, so he could find it. King Qing's order. Qin Chu was not arrogant to this extent. While advancing, Qin Chu didn't find any monsters. As he moved forward, Qin Chu came to a quaint attic. He knew that this was one of the Yum Towers. There is an inscription in front of the attic, which introduces the life of a cultivator named Dao Quang. King Qin came to challenge him and killed Dao Quang with his sword. After watching for a while, Qin Chu entered the attic. There was a sculpture in the attic. The sculpture was a man carrying a sword on his back. Qin Chu knew that this sculpture was Dao Quang, and what was recorded here was the record of one of Qin Wang's 100 victories. After walking around the attic and finding nothing, Qin Chu planned to leave. When he was about to leave, Qin Chu felt that the sword carried by the sculpture was very domineering, so he stepped forward and touched it. With Qin Chu's touch, fingerprints appeared on the sword. It was Qin Chu's fingers that wiped away the dust, and under the dust was the sword with a faint light. Real. It's a real combat knife, not a sculpture. Qin Chu took the sword off the back of the sculpture, and after blowing the dust on it, he found that it was a good sword. This also made him a little regretful, because he practiced swordsmanship, and a good sword was not good for him. It doesn't make any sense. Putting the sword into the storage ring, Qin Chu left the attic and walked towards another attic in the distance. Before he could reach the place, Qin Chu saw swords blazing across the sky. People and animals were fighting. He recognized a white figure among them. It was Xianxia. Her opponent was Bao Yuan. Qin Chu couldn't tell the cultivation level. But his momentum was much stronger than that of Xianxia, and stronger than the demon tiger he killed. Boom! Bao Yuan's slap hit Xianxia's long sword, sending Xianxia flying. Xianxia flew upside down and hit the wall of the attic, with bright red blood on the corner of his mouth. At this time, Qin Chu moved, unsheathed his long sword, and slashed at the violent ape on the way forward. After all, Xianxia had also helped him, so he couldn't just die without saving him. The long arm of the violent ape swung at an extremely fast speed and directly hit Qin Chu's long sword, causing Qin Chu and his men to retreat uncontrollably. Broken. With a scolding sound, Xianxia's long sword flew past Qin Chu with a bloody light, and then pierced the forehead of the violent ape, but Xianxia was also hit by the claws of the dying violent ape. The abdomen was smashed and flew backwards. Qin Chu dodged and hugged Xianxia, but the power of the violent ape was too great. Qin Chu hugged Xianxia, but his body was still flying upside down, hitting the wall of the attic directly, and then slid to the ground. His throat felt sweet, and Qin Chu spit out a mouthful of blood. He had no strength at all. Xianxia held a long sword in his hand, climbed up from Qin Chu's leg sitting on the ground, took a pill and went to the side to meditate. Qin Chu took out the healing medicine Lei Yin gave him and took one. His back hit the pavilion building, which shocked his internal organs and opened the wound on his back. After resting for a long time, when Qin Chu opened his eyes, he saw Xianxia standing not far in front of him. "What are you doing? Are you going to give me a sword?" Qin Chu said after standing up. "You have to do things according to your ability. You are so irrational," Xianxia said while looking at Qin Chu. "You helped me, I can't just watch you get hurt." Qin Chu said. Xianxia didn't say anything else. After thinking for a while, he pointed to the east area. "There is an attic over there. I planned to approach it, but this violent ape intercepted it at all costs. There must be some secret.